I keep hearing, that's quite enough. I keep hearing, all right, that's quite enough. Is someone doing something to you, or are you feeling done with something? I don't actually know what you've had enough of, but this energy is dominating here in some way. It could also be like something you say a lot or a specific type of phrasing that's personal to you. I don't know. It's kind of a funny phrase, like, all right, that's quite enough. Okay, so right away, this is giving Virgo Pisces energy. So I'm assuming it's going to be somewhat of an astrology read. I might not even need the tarot or the oracle deck today, since already this is quite enough. See what I did there? Pisces and Virgo signs could be significant to you in some way. For some of you, I see you gravitating towards this polarity in your life. Like a very specific example is if you are a Pisces, you found a lot of connections through your opposite sign, Virgo, and vice versa. I see this reading today being really focused on karmic life paths, and I've been getting quite a few of those types of readings lately, especially with the New Year energy. I feel since 2026 is the year of reveals and truth, it's kind of revealing the purpose to some of you for the first time, or clarifying it for those who have already known their purpose. It's kind of like revealing it even more. Most of the life path energy reads are wildly different, and today will only be for a few. So really listen carefully here and make that discernment with me now. This Virgo Pisces energy we have today is the main theme. I'll be sure to, as always, leave my notes in the description for you to look for your specific placements in your birth chart. I'll be sure to leave all of that there, so don't feel like you have to pick up everything immediately. Also, remember that collective reads do not have to be exact. It does not have to be in your birth chart in the way that I put it in the description, so just know it's more of an embodiment energy type, like what you're moving towards energy-wise here. And so what I mean by that is this is a message for a specific group of souls that started this life in what looks like Virgo energy. And really, that's kind of presenting to me as you having a higher than average tolerance to details and analysis than others would. Like you kind of came here with order and structure right away. And this could be something either you were conscious of or not, but others definitely were. They picked up on this order energy that you just kind of were gifted with. And this definitely is presenting as like the person in the family that takes on the family chaos and structures it behind the scenes. Like you were the peacemaker, the organizer. In general, you had an enormous amount of discipline, especially at what looks like a very early age. And this is why I say it won't be for everyone, because most children are not born with discipline. Younger people kind of learn discipline as they get older, and it's the opposite for you. And so that's where I'm really filtering the audience here. So it's very rare, this quality. And if you resonate with that, this reading is going to get very specific on what you're walking into in these next few years and how you're really breaking karmic cycles and how that's showing in your physical. I kind of see you being someone who loves understanding, who loves to understand the meaning, the reasoning. And it's very critical here from what I'm seeing is that as you listen to this, as you get this message, it'll create an understanding for you to walk forward in some important way. So if you are resonating with this very specific theme of being placed into a life as someone who just kind of came here with this order, this analysis, this ability to refine chaos, while everyone around you maybe was possibly chaotic by contrast, this message is definitely for you. All right, so if you are still here, damn, do you bring order into chaos? I'll tell you what, or at least you have predominantly throughout your life, and it's showing so strongly here in your energy today. I see you acting as this crutch for others in many ways. It's like you naturally fall into this role in many areas throughout your life, whether work, home, love related. You bring this sort of discipline, this order, this coherence into spaces, and it's been natural throughout your life. This kind of came up here with a few random things. So these details won't be for everyone. I'm going to, as always, leave these details in the description so we don't spend too long on the random here. But for some of you, magnesium could be really important as a supplement at this time, especially during the shift I see. There's something related here to your nervous system that I'll leave the notes for. That could be especially important if you felt like you've had deficiencies throughout your life. Pay attention to magnesium moving forward. There's also a very specific note here on online connectivity. And your ability to make connections online on specific online platforms. This is one that I think will have to be really explained here because it's so detailed and I don't think it's going to be for everyone. But the gist of it, where I'll leave the rest in the description, is that in the past, you had an easier time connecting with others online, and now it feels like it's a little bit more difficult. There's a specific reason here that the shift occurred for you, and it's pointing towards you breaking this karma and learning the soul path lesson that you're being kind of like guided to. Basically, you're more enlightened and you have stopped playing small. But these online platforms that you're using or that you want to use or that you will use in the future that help you find kind of connection in a digital age is working the opposite way. So you may feel kind of like invisible online. And again, very small group, not for everyone because it's super specific. But I'm just going to leave more in the description because there's a reason this is happening. And it's very important and it's confirming something to you. And I'm supposed to clarify so you don't interpret it incorrectly. So for those that resonates with, I'll type that up for you. Okay, back to the layered reading here. So the majority here that I have today, you came here with analysis, this ability to analyze, to bring order, to bring structure. I'm seeing such a strong Virgo South Node presence. Your energy that carried into this life was just orderly. You brought this natural ability to bring structure to chaos. And I know I keep saying that, but it's so important. You might literally have been born into a chaotic system in contrast to this, or you might gravitate towards chaotic people because of this South Node karma that you're kind of meant to undo, untangle here in this life. And so this life for you is built around the energy of unlearning Virgo. The reason you came here so orderly and so structured was because remembering for you is falling into the polarity of Virgo, which is Pisces, the opposite, and embodying that opposite energy. And so souls are kind of given north and south nodes, for those who aren't familiar, to kind of learn the lesson in between, to find that harmony, that balance in those opposites, since Virgo is the natural opposite of Pisces. And your higher self brought this lesson to you, this lesson to embody Pisces energy, because your natural patterns, your natural tendencies, your natural comfort is going to be in Virgo. And so learning that Pisces space is going to be very difficult. It's going to be a lesson, a learning place. And so double confirmation for those who are drawn to Pisces or have some sort of personal experience with the specific signs here. You don't have to, but if you do, it's just another confirmation on top of this. And so basically what I'm being shown here is it's important to learn to lean into Pisces energy or to learn how to. I see you very clearly already doing that to some extent here. I notice there is some difficulty in leaning into Pisces energy, but you're pushing through that almost as if you're remembering here. And then that process is just happening as a very natural result of that. So I could see you kind of gravitating towards more intuition, towards more emotion, especially as you've aged. When you were younger, you were more logical, more cerebral. And then now as you've aged, you're kind of becoming more emotional and more intuitive. And so examples of this that could be really specific is as a kid, maybe you were obsessively cleanly or organized in your space, in your environment, like you were very tidy. And then now you're kind of letting go of that a little bit as you age. Slowly, you're becoming less organized, less tidy. And it's very rare that kids are tidy. So having that contrast will be very specific for you. It can also show through non-physical ways, like perhaps emotional outlets. For example, you being less in touch with your emotions at an earlier age, but now as you're aging, you're becoming more able to tap into your intuition, your emotions. You're not operating everything through intellect and your cerebral brain. It's kind of like you're slowly learning, okay, emotions matter. I need to like feel into this. It's less intellectual. and it's less orderly. It doesn't have to like make sense. And so this message is really confirming to you, since I see you already on this path, it's saying to keep leaning into what you're doing here. Maybe even more than what you've been doing. It may feel difficult for you to fully trust your intuition without having all the answers because of this Virgo node placement that you're unlearning. I almost see that being your main remembering sign here. It's like a natural tendency to find all the answers before believing something. That's what you're unlearning. And so before you move forward, you're kind of naturally wanting to know all the answers or naturally wanting to have everything clear. And this life is about moving forward, even when you don't have all the answers. You're kind of learning to trust your internal knowing that not everything needs analysis, not everything needs a direct answer. It simply exists because you believe it to. It exists with ambiguity, with uncertainty, and you're learning you don't need to fix that. So really, I see your natural tendency here being when there's ambiguity, you feel uncomfortable with that. When there's a lack of clarity, you want the answers. You'll naturally fall into this place where you try to uncover them. And that south node activates when you don't have all the answers. Your Virgo, it kind of activates. And you're actively fighting that on this path to trust that you don't always need all the answers, that you don't always need it to be completely clear. It's almost like ambiguity is your sign that you're going to arrive at your destination faster. When things are less clear, it's almost confirming to you, okay, yes, this is the correct path. I kind of see alignment happening when things are unclear, when you're practicing in that space of, I don't need all the answers. I just trust that I feel this and that's enough. Then you're kind of doing what your soul came here to do, is fight that south node karma. So you might feel, in other words, to really summarize the core of this message, you might feel much more comfortable with answers. You might feel much more comfortable with less ambiguity. But that comfort is kind of a sign you're reverting back to the south node where you feel comfortable, and you're meant to kind of embrace discomfort through Pisces, through embodying this north node energy of Pisces, which is very intuitive, emotional. It doesn't have all the answers. It's unclear, but it's just a feeling. So this is kind of confirming to you, if you've been doing that more lately, keep doing that. That is very important to your life path here. Your destiny, your karma is not falling into the comfort of having all the answers, because it's false comfort at any rate. We can never have all the answers, but also that's specifically what your soul here came to break. Okay, so wow, there has been quite a lot here in this message today. This connection platform thing that I mentioned earlier, where I was like, I'm just going to write it in the description and we don't need to get into it. Well, it's coming up again, and I feel like it's kind of important. I think Spirit's saying no more. I'll still recap it in the description, but I think I need to kind of talk about it a little bit more for some of you. Again, not going to be for everyone. I'm sorry if it's not meant for you, but this is for a very specific group of people that need to hear it. If you do feel somewhat invisible online currently, and don't force this, it's only meant to fit a small amount. That invisibility is actually a huge confirmation right now. It is such a contrast, such a stark contrast from the past here, because I see you being the opposite of invisible online in the past. You were getting all the attention, whether you tried or not, it didn't matter. Any and every online platform is relevant here, social, dating, wherever you're talking, through your phone, through your computer. This invisible energy that you may feel is activating some sort of emotion here for you, even if you're not fully aware until I bring this up. It's kind of difficult for you to not think something has changed negatively, since you don't get the same attention that you're used to from the past without even trying. It's interesting because you never have like actively sought out attention. That's not what we're talking about here. It's just these apps or these connection platforms are engaging with you differently, are responding to your energy change, actually. So you were used to not doing anything and having a ton of interaction, a ton of engagement, a ton of attention, and that's shifted, whether very recently or for a while now, or it will. And you're maybe going to think to yourself, okay, is this me? Am I just like gross now? Do people just not like me? And Spirit really wants to tell you, because it's coming up again here, is like, actually, this is the opposite of anything being wrong. These connection platforms feed those who are actually in misalignment. So superficial or ungrounded or kind of shrinking to mask themselves for mass appeal. Those are the types who are rewarded quickly, who get a lot of energies engaging with them, a lot of random things that attract to them. So they'll have high engagement from a lot of people. And the fact that you're not is actually a sign you're signaling coherence. You're not signaling noise or static. That is mass appeal. You don't want mass appeal. You want someone specific for you. You want these connections that are aligned to your family, to your soul path. And that's not going to be mass appeal. That's not going to be high engagement. And so Spirit's advice here, if you're not already doing this, because I kind of see some of you are like, what's wrong with me? It's mixed here. But the advice here is to seek genuine connection offline. And it's almost impossible to be guided on these platforms to people who aren't in static or incoherent energy. So the likelihood of you connecting with someone at your level is so low on them. And in fact, it might do a disservice because it might discourage you. So again, I'll leave more details. I just had to bring that up again. It's important that you know it's not you and to not get discouraged. And I'm supposed to explain from an energy standpoint what's actually happening here. So you don't feel otherwise. Okay, so this message is just very layered today, and there's a lot going on from a lot of different angles, but ultimately what this is saying is it's confirming to you the direct path you're already on or you're going to be. I see this being an important message for someone who came into this life with analytical Virgo energy. You feel comfort and understanding. So there's a part of this message where timing is so critical to you specifically, like a final understanding of some kind before you can put down understanding a little bit more. Almost like your guide, spirit, source are saying you're ready for this. You can hear this. Like before you're able to fully embrace ambiguity, you need the reason as to why not understanding something fully is a struggle for you. And it may sound counterintuitive, like, okay, Saul, aren't you feeding me exactly what you're telling me I should lean out of, which is understanding and having all the answers? But yes, I am purposefully. Spirit kind of put this message here for that exact reason. Like the exact time you're ready to fully hear the reason of it is going to help push you forward in some way. It's kind of like a seed to move forward. You maybe won't be conscious of this message at all times. Like you're not going to actively, after this message, seek out ambiguity and never look for answers again. This message will kind of just what looks like age you in ambiguity. When it presents itself, when lack of clarity comes, you're going to have this message in the back of your mind that'll help you move forward. And when you feel that urge to kind of lean away from ambiguity or the lack of answers, you'll remember that your mission, your soul's purpose here is to lean into it, to help facilitate, to kind of like act like a catalyst for those specific moments that matter towards your path, those specific decision moments. And not every decision will matter. You're not going to be presented with a bunch of karmic paths where you have to make the right decision. It's just some are going to be more important to lay the bricks down for the path for you, including connections that are critical, opportunities that are critical, upcoming. Leaning into that Pisces intuition rather than analytical safety and answers is going to help align you much quicker. And so this isn't a message to, I hope you don't hear that it's a message to ignore all safety and ignore all answers and analytics. South and north nodes don't really work in extreme ways like that. You're not meant to be activated and scared 24/7 in completely unknown paths, but there are occasions where not understanding is important. But remember, understanding and analyzing and feeling safe in answers is not always harmful. It can be neutral at times as well. So what I really see here, let me just say it this way. Upcoming, there's going to be choices that feel very unclear and they're filled with ambiguity, and you're meant to lean into those decisions fully, even knowing you will not have all the answers and cannot. And you'll know immediately the big decisions because your higher self, what looks like, is going to put this message's understanding back into your mind. So you will have the confidence to move forward. This message is very critical to those specific decisions. So if you're feeling something presents, you remember this message, move forward without all the answers, please. If you get anything from this message, it's very critical for some of you, very specific for some of you. I felt I had to get it out really quickly because a crossing or decision decision moment will come up soon. And the message here is to lean into that. You're meant to trust your intuition. You're meant to not have full understanding, not have the full answers. And that's the alignment indicator of this life for you. All right, so the next part of this reading is rather, dare I say, unique. For those who are new here, this is something that is specific to this channel that you probably have not seen before. And before you click away, allow me to explain or introduce fully and then make your decision. This next segment is called Salt Talks. And after each reading, there's a specific topic I address for my collective, usually. Sometimes it's just silly, sometimes it's serious. The reason that I do this, just so you know, is I'm a reader that addresses majority energy. And the reason is because it helps me keep collective reads consistent and not diverge them into smaller groups. It keeps everything neutral this way. And the way I'm able to protect the energy exchange here and keep my readings very specific is because I do this. I take these extra measures to make sure things are neutral here in the exchange. That is coming up next. Check out the timestamps in the description for the topics to see if you're interested in what I'm going to talk about. I always leave them there so you don't walk in blind or maybe aren't interested in that specific topic. Or maybe this just isn't your thing and you're more interested in your own readings, which is totally fine. I love you all the same. But just so you know, Salt Talks is coming up next. Buckle up for those regular Salt Talk fans. Here we go. Welcome. Episode 16 awaits us. Okay, so today I kind of have a few things I want to address. We are prepared, or things I guess just came to me a lot more strongly than other ones where I'm kind of deciding on the spot. The first thing I want to address is, and I've done this in the past, I've addressed this, but I've gotten an uproar in these questions lately again. And I think it's because a lot of new people are finding me lately. And they're like, who is this girl that doesn't respond to us and that doesn't show her face? And the questions that I keep getting are asking me again if I am AI, if I am a robot. Like, I just get a lot of questions about that. And I think there's something just going on in general about YouTube and the change in the algorithm lately, the way everyone kind of has like aversions to AI slop and how AI slop is dominating. And I think they did a pretty good job. I think YouTube and a lot of algorithms are doing a pretty good job at removing obvious AI channels. And I'm just noticing they have very little views now. There is something going on in the way people feel about AI, the way people feel about AI content, and it's just very important. It's a majority of the energy that I get in my comment section. So that's why I'm dedicating a lot of time to this. At first, when I would get these questions, like, are you AI? Who are you? I was just kind of confused when I first started. Like, I was like, how could I be AI? And so I had to do research. I had to understand. And I don't think that I understood the capabilities of what AI can do. And I don't even know if now I still really understand fully. But for example, a couple of episodes back, I shared that I got solicited emails and I get them all the time. It's insane. But they're basically asking me to sell my channel, to name a price, and they'll buy my channel from me. And I was super confused about that. And I shared that with you guys. And I was kind of asking a question. Like, I was like, how could they do that? How could they even take my channel? And you guys answered my question in the comments and you told me, yeah, they can take your voice and they can do all this crazy stuff. And I learned a lot from that video because I had no idea. It still fully doesn't really make sense to me. Like, even if they did clone my voice, I just don't get how they could channel or read energy. And I would think that eventually they would lose the collective because my energy would just be different, right? Like, I mean, how could they do what I do? So I still really don't understand the rationale there behind what they think they can do here. But yeah, I get a lot of emails asking me my payout price, which I block them. And I also had to add in my about or whatever it's called. I don't respond to like any sort of soliciting services. This is for my collective. But anyway, I was confident they couldn't replace me. But after reading a few of your comments, I'm like unsure at this point. And so that leads me back to the growing concern of if I am AI or not. And I think I'm finally slowly starting to understand the capabilities of AI more. And so I'm finally understanding the concern with a faceless channel like mine. And if you're curious about my decision to be a faceless channel, I address it in another episode. I will leave it on the screen for you to check it out if you're curious. That answers all the reasonings because it's not just that I'm lazy or, feel like I'm ugly. But I guess going back to this, to directly answer the question, if I am AI or not, I don't think it can boil down to anything I could directly say to you. I suppose words are kind of cheap here because a face speaks more than a voice does. But I will say it kind of relates to today's reading where you wouldn't have all the direct answers here and you're kind of going based on a feeling or intuition about me. And I want to say that if I ever rub you the wrong way or if I make you doubt my humanity or anything like that, I suggest you move on from my channel. I'm not saying that I will directly have been bought out at that point or I've slowly transformed into a robot, but what I am saying is if you don't feel like I'm authentic or I'm real, then I might not be the reader for you at this time. And that's just the truth. And so in a weird way, I think that discernment comes here. It's just a feeling about me. You don't need my face to feel something about me. Those who really resonate with me deeply and I'm really tapped in with them, they've never doubted my humanity, with or without my face. And maybe they will in the future, and that might be a sign. It's just, think of this as the fact that you maybe think I'm a robot is probably your discernment saying something's off here, right? It's not the time for this reader. Kind of going off of this train of thought with AI and all the energy feelings I'm getting about AI, it kind of leads me to another thing I get a lot, or what I've gotten since day one here in terms of like energy. There's a lot of growing distrust that is prevalent here in YouTube. I think it would be prevalent in all social media. And I'm not going to defend myself because I know my collective is very protective of me. They don't like it when I explain myself. And so I'm not here to explain. It's just me sharing my thoughts and opinions to just like give a disclaimer about this opinion. My opinion is that the growing distrust that comes from platforms like YouTube, TikTok, wherever these guides, influencers, creators are, is a creator typically creates this audience through sincerity, authenticness, a strong belief system, and then eventually they become influenced by monetization because the bigger you get, the more money you make. We all know that kind of happens. And for me, one of the things I share openly here is I don't focus on monetization because I feel like it kind of like dilutes the message, the resonance, the reason I'm here. But I really think that there's a connection between the distrust I face and the energy here and the way in which these influencers or creators kind of start with a strong belief system and then slowly sell out or change. I wanted to share my opinion here because it's not just on tarot or spiritual YouTube. This is a creator-wide problem in today's ecosystem, is where they just get big enough and everyone has like a buy-outable number, I suppose. I saw this the other day. This is like a personal thing with me, is this is a creator who I personally follow who kind of like built his audience off the premise of minimalism or not spending money. And he would regularly preach how wasteful specifically food delivery service is. And then he would constantly say things like how he never uses it himself, how it's wrong, it's wasting your money. But then once he reached 1 million subscribers, DoorDash reached out to him with a high number that he bought out from. And so this caused a ton of backlash because he basically promoted DoorDash on his channel where he went against it on everything else. It's basically what he stood for and then went completely opposite. And everyone knew it was just for money. They could feel that. And the point is of me bringing this up is this is super common. This is happening everywhere. And so it's leading to a distrust in creators. And because people who have these strong beliefs that show them kind of always have a price that they'll sell out on. And the reason I bring this up, I'm not going to talk about me really here, but I think I'm wondering what examples of creators that are out there that you might know where when they reach a big enough number that they don't sell out. Because I think we often think about all these examples in our head where, you know, they've turned around and they've bought out, but where are the good examples here? I think showing space where that can coexist is rare, but I know it exists. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on this just in general, not even if you have an example, but I think it's harder to think of those creators who don't sell out because it's easier to reference the ones who had that contrast. They come to mind more often than not. And so when you see someone who has high principles, high values, you immediately think that they're going to buy out at a certain point because that's the ecosystem we're in. And so really, I shared all of this because this is my opinion. This is what I think the distrust relates to that I experienced in large numbers since being here, since staying here. And I really just want to know all of your guys' thoughts. Who do you follow? Who do you feel would never sell out? Who do you feel is authentic? I would love to hear it. I would love to follow them. Tell me your thoughts. Tell me everything. And for those of you who are new here, I just want to say thanks for sticking it out. What did you think about Salt Talks? Did you hate it? Was it weird? Was it kind of cool? Was it interesting? Feedback is always welcome, good or bad, I'll take it all. And since you're new here, I'm inclined to tell you to leave comments because it helps me pick up on your energy. Most of my collective here is used to me asking for nudges, so I'll just quickly inform you why. The reason I'm so detailed in my reads is because I have this amazing collective that sends me their energy. These nudges don't have to be your whole life story unless, of course, you want to share that. These are just ways I can quickly pick up on the energy and sort through what needs to go out in divine timing. And I want to quickly remind everyone that if you've been nudging me and my readings haven't resonated like they maybe have in the past, it's not because I'm not feeling you. I can assure you that I still feel your energy. It is just not your time to hear a message. It's all about divine timing, not prioritizing one energy over the other. It's all neutral here, baby. And I protect that with my life. I love you guys so much. Cheers, friends.